missiles that were incoming to the United States. North Dakota Pyramid. The history behind this complex and how did it work and everything. And it's fascinating, fascinating. And some pictures that were classified in the past. From the Space Force base they have just a couple of kilometers from where we are right now. That's the closest I feel comfortable of getting to that base. This one would be launched first to intercept the Soviet missiles. They would also shoot the incoming projectiles from here. Across Canada, the Arctic, you have the Soviet Union. And hello everyone, welcome to another video of Out of Your Comfort Zone. My name is Rodrigo. We are here in the middle of nowhere. Almost literally nowhere. We are in North Dakota, United States. I state that there's not much stuff here happening in North Dakota. It's pretty empty. Plus, we are in the northern part of North Dakota. 17 miles, about 20-something kilometers to the Canadian border. Literally, our radio in our car was playing like French news. And we are here at an old secret military base of the U.S. Army. Stanley R. McHuston Safeguard Complex Remote Launch Site 3. So what is that? What was that? It was an old secret system with the goal to intercept Soviet nuclear missiles that were incoming to the United States. So right here, right now, there are 30 silos where you used to have missiles that were supposed to intercept those Soviet nuclear missiles. And after this place here, we're gonna go to the North Dakota Pyramid, which was a massive radar that they had a couple of miles from here. That was essentially the radar that would track the Soviet missiles, and the missiles from here would intercept. But as you said, like, this is an old military base. Yes, it was closed off around the 1970s due to costs and technology. The technology wasn't developed enough to intercept missiles at that time. But today, it became a tourist attraction here in north of Dakota. And it's still a private property. Someone bought this old base. And we're gonna explore this base today, hopefully. Because they're supposed to open at 10:30. We arrive a little bit early here, but it's already 10:30 and still closed. And as you can see, it became a tourist attraction. So hopefully the owner is gonna allow me to record what's inside. There's a tour. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the complex and all its features and everything. So I hope I'm gonna be able to share that with you. There's also a little movie about it, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. And if you're by any chance traveling north of North Dakota, yes, you can visit. The pyramid, I heard it's closed off. You can't visit. But hopefully we will be able to visit from outside and maybe film from outside the pyramid for you all. But before we continue the video, I'm gonna ask you a favor. My channel is still a small channel, so if you haven't done yet, please like and subscribe, because every like and every subscribe really helps the channel grow. So I'm gonna wait here a tiny bit more until the owner arrives, but you're gonna see it right now. It's past 10:30. He's not here yet. Woo. I almost dropped my camera. He arrived. Let's explore. We didn't have any cash on us, but thankfully they accept credit cards to get into the facility. That was a woo. So, we weren't able exactly to film inside. The owner asked us not to film some sensitive things. He didn't want to be filmed all the time or some of the areas, but he took a lot of pictures. And it's fascinating, fascinating. The tour is amazing. The owner is very, very knowledgeable, knows so much about this complex, and a lot of people who work in this complex end up coming here and telling him some of the stories behind, the history behind this complex and how did it work and everything. This is the Sprinter missile, where you have the silos inside the base. So just stay with us. I'm going to show you now a lot of pictures that I took inside, explaining everything based on what he told me. So what I recommend, come here, explore this place because it's amazing. You start the tour by watching a video about the whole missile defense project. Even though it's one of those 60s, 70s military government videos. It's very interesting, especially if you're interested in this kind of situation. They talk about the Cold War, they talk about the missile tests in the Pacific Islands, Marshall Islands, and so on. And finally explain why the whole project was canceled, mostly because of costs, but also because of disarmament agreements between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, such as the SALT. They also have old posters with technical information about the project, pictures, and some pictures that were classified in the past, so you can't take pictures of those pictures, but I took a picture of the explanation about those pictures, on how they were classified. There's also this cool paint, I think, with the Terminator and the Pyramid of North Dakota. And interestingly enough, there was an Oath Keeper's flag over there. So I let you all take your own conclusions about that. And here we are on top of the bunker, and over there you can see the 16 missile silos over there. And these ventilation towers are from the bunker below me. And that way you see Nikki walking towards the 16 silos, where you have missiles with literally nuclear warheads, and you can see the different layers of security around the premise. There is the front gate, but also a different gate to get to the silos. The entrance to the bunker here. You visit the bunker inside there. It's incredible. You're supposed to resist a nuclear explosion not far from here. Electromagnetic pulse. It was supposed to resist there. Even solar flares. Amazing, the doors and everything. So much to see there. I'm gonna show you the pictures and talk a little bit about what I've learned. But before we go to the pictures, don't forget, after that we're gonna go to the North Dakota Pyramid, which was part of this whole system. That was the main radar that would track the incoming nuclear missiles from the Soviet Union. And then it's time to get into the main bunker itself. I would say that's the highlight of the tour. The bunker is behind some very heavy anti-blast doors that were supposed to resist nuclear explosions close by, fire, electromagnetic pulse, earthquakes, and other elements. So we had fun taking pictures of it. As you can imagine, most of the high sensitive material was taken out from the facility, but you still have a lot of things to see. A lot of parts of the cables that stay there, the control panels, and something interesting, the most sensitive facilities were put on top of kind of a springs. So in case of earthquake, nuclear blast, and so on, they would shake, but they wouldn't break. And you saw that a couple of times throughout the tour. They were also electrically isolated to withstand the AMP and also solar flares. The tour guide showed us some patches he got from some guardians from the Space Force base they have just a couple of kilometers from where we are right now. I'm gonna talk about that soon. Esses mísseis sprinters tinham ogivas nucleares na ponta deles, então eles interceptavam uma missão nuclear com missão nuclear. E essa é parte do bunker que estava lá embaixo que a gente visitou. Throughout the tour, you hear incredible stories how they used to operate under very extreme circumstances, both because of the cold in the north of North Dakota, but also how restricted they were with security because they had nuclear warheads over there. So both the security personnel, how they lived over there, as well as the responsible for launching those nuclear weapons in case of interception. Finally, you go check it out, the silos themselves. There's a nice fellow over there taking care of it, guard post. You can read some security instructions, and finally looking at the silos. You can also see the cameras and all the alarm system they had around the complex, which again had many different layers of security and was connected to different bases around this region. To have an idea, when they were moving around the warheads, they had helicopter gunships flying over it just for additional security. After finishing this tour here, we still want to check it out, the Space Force base really close by, a Spartan missile, and obviously the pyramid. So this antenna, which is really close to the place we just visited. And when everything was up and running, was connected to the Cheyenne Mountain, NORAD in Colorado, the main Space Command Center of the United States. Pretty crazy, and today they use as a phone tower. And pretty close to the place we were visiting, you have an actual active Space Force base. This one is active 100%. So this one I don't think you're gonna be able to get that close, but it was in the past part of the whole complex of missile interception, and now it's still active. That's the only part that's still active. So in one side here you have this beautiful sunflower field, and over there the Space Force base. Right over there, active one, here in North Dakota. That antenna there, here, that structure is very similar to the structure of the North Dakota Pyramid. But that one is still active, is still tracking satellites, ballistic missiles, and so on. Sorry for the wind. And the other one there, we can see from afar. That's the closest I feel comfortable of getting to that base, and hopefully they feel comfortable about that I don't pose a threat. But yeah, that one 100% is still active. Okay, I was able to drive up a small hill that they have here, and you can see the antenna right over there of the active Space Force base in Cavalier. And here in the city of Longdon, only 20 minutes out of the LSR #1 site that we were visiting together, you have here a Spartan missile, which had a nuclear warhead as well. So this, together with the Sprint, was part of the defense system. This one would be launched first to intercept the Soviet missiles, would destroy part of it, but parts that weren't destroyed would be then intercept with the Sprint missile. So a double interception. One longer, more than 100 miles, and one a shorter one, 20 something miles. But yeah, so if you're visiting the SLR #1 site, you can come here only 20 minutes to see a Spartan. And obviously, since we are so close to Canada, they have a little flag here, American and Canadian flag. Pretty cool. So here we are, finally, the Pyramid of North Dakota. So you can see those are the ventilation shafts, towers, the pyramid, the radar itself, and right over there, the grass there, that's the ammunition depot. But most important, that's ammunition depot for nuclear warheads. That's right. That's where they kept some of the nuclear warheads that would go on the top of the Spartan and Sprint missiles. Because here, contrary to the RLS 1 that we visit, that only had Sprint missiles, here they had the silos for the Sprint and the Spartan missiles. So all this complex, besides the radar to track the incoming projectiles, they would also shoot the incoming projectiles from here. Unfortunately, it's all closed off. We can't visit, but it's for sale. So if you wanna buy it, the same way the other guy bought the other one, you can buy this one. We're gonna show you the gate down there. It's completely closed off. Gate. Okay. So unfortunately, we can't visit inside. And around here, just crops like corn and everything, and a lot of wind turbines. A lot of them, because North Dakota is quite windy. And probably asking yourself as well, why north of North Dakota so close to Canada? Because the Soviet Union, essentially, if you cross Canada, the Arctic, you have the Soviet Union. So if they would send intercontinental ballistic missiles to the United States, they wouldn't go through Europe, Atlantic, and here. They would go the fastest way, north through the Arctic and Canada. That's why we had here the missiles to intercept. And that's one of the reasons why it was shut down, because they figured out the missiles are nuclear missiles. The missiles here intercepting, they also had nuclear warheads. So, and they would intercept before arriving in the United States. What would happen? Would probably a lot of nuclear material would drop inside Canada, which is a friendly nation, ally nation. That wouldn't be great. So they decided it would also a big risk, and they didn't want to continue with that. So that's it. I hope you're enjoying this short video about this very interesting relic that we still have here in North Dakota. If I said something wrong or if I said something incomplete, please let me know in the comments area. And if you have any questions as well, because I didn't say everything that I learned about this, and I could help you with that as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It's still a small channel, so every like and every subscribe really helps the channel grow. That's it. Until the next time, safe travels.